Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by and supporting your girl on this channel. So, all credit goes to the creators in these videos. So, guys, on today's version of FAFO Chronicles.
I'm taking a little poll and I would love for you to vote in the comments. So, when United States retailers run out of goods in about 4 to 6 weeks because China has cut us off, among others because Donald Trump tried to ruin the world economy, what do you think MAGA will blame the empty shelves on? So we have A, Joe Biden, of course. B, Obama, maybe? Okay. C, fake news. My stores are packed full. Okay. D, just Democrats in general. Democrats voted it down somehow without majority in anything. E, the age old, he's playing chess, not checkers. There had to be a little pain before we were great again. This has always been his plan. So which one do you think it'll be? A, B, C, D, or E, or a combo of one or two? I'd love to hear. And we will all get to watch this unfold over the next month or so.
So Donald Trump came out and said that the American people are going to struggle financially and economically because of his tariff strategy. It's pretty apparent that he has been firing federal workers of the government, which brings the employment rate up. It is also very apparent that the ports of Seattle, Washington, New York, Boston are all empty, which means that our shelves in our stores are going to be empty. So at least we know that he's keeping one of his campaign promises.
The WTO, the World Trade Organization, is expecting the amount of trade between the United States and China to be slashed by 80%. Then what does this mean for the nation's ports? The top two are right here. And now the director of the Port of Los Angeles says, as you're about to hear, the shipments from China have stopped.
Arrivals will drop by 35%. As essentially all shipments out of China for major retailers and manufacturers has ceased, and cargo coming out of Southeast Asia locations is much softer than normal with the tariffs now in place.
The Port of LA's executive director, Gene Soroka, explaining while the tariff talk seems to change hourly, for now, a 145% tariff on China will have an impact.
That simply means that if you're buying a product from China, it costs 2.5 times more than it did last month.
The twin ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, the nation's second busiest, are the drivers of the Southern California economy. This week, the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation predicting the trickle-down effects of the tariffs that now threaten $500 billion in revenue for our region and put 2 million workers at risk.
With decreased economic activity comes decreased ability to meet payroll.
The CEO of the Trucking Association says truck drivers will be among those impacted.
There's just, unfortunately, outside pressures that is going to cause folks to probably lose their jobs.
Meantime, Soroka says, let's just keep the cargo coming.
Okay, I got some MAGA FAFO. Indiana edition. It doesn't get better than this. And let me preface by saying, like, it's still sad what happened, but it's like, duh, like, we knew this. First things first, you need to go look up two people. J.D. Prescott, who is a representative of the Indiana House, District 33, and then Scott Alexander, who is a state senator from Indiana. Now, I forget, since they redistrict, exactly what counties this covers, but I do know that J.D. Prescott's district covers Randolph County, which is where I'm from. And this actually involves my alma mater of Union High School in Indiana. Now, Union High School is a tiny little high school, and it's a K-12 all-in-one building in Indiana, okay? In one of the smallest counties in Indiana, to be frank. It's where I graduated from, and we had like 16 kids in our graduating class. So it's very, very small. All right, now, let's skip ahead. This district, when I was chair in 2020 for the Democratic Party, this district voted for him like 80% to 20%, okay? Like, which gives him really a mandate to do whatever the hell he wants. And nobody can ever beat him in the primaries even. I have a theory to that, but who cares if they ever want to hear it. So J.D. Prescott, who's the representative of this small union high school, writes a bill, or actually, I don't know if he wrote the bill, but he wrote an amendment in the bill. Basically, it says that if your county has less than 55,000 people as its population, then the school corporations must consolidate into one school corporation for the county, which could give opportunity to a lot of students who don't have the class availability, etc., because they go to such a small school and there's not the funding. But you also got to remember that in rural Indiana, people they stick to their traditions, okay? And they like their packs, they like their cliques, and it's pride mentality. So they really like their school systems. They like to be able to root for it. All right? Also, Union High School is one of the largest online high schools in the state of Indiana. And they make most of their revenue that way. Now, that specific amendment didn't pass, but what Scott Alexander and J.D. Prescott did was they write an amendment specifically for Union High School and says Union must shut down operations by this July, which means this would be the last year for anything. They can't go into any new contracts, they can't hire any new people, and they have to cease operations by July. All right? Now suddenly, all the MAGA people who didn't heed these warnings, which were clearly spoken to them over and over and over again, he's been elected like 4 times now. They don't care about that because it's too important to them to own libs. Well, now they're going to lose their school. My high school. I hate to say I told you so, but it's how you voted.
A trade deal is supposedly agreed upon this weekend, and I'm curious to know what it's actually going to be, as we recently got one with the UK. So potentially we could have some of these tariff issues, tariff scares behind us, depending on what this deal is with China. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how markets react during the week, because if the deal is not as good as everyone anticipated, we could probably have another crash in the stock market. And also the opposite, if it's really good and potentially tariffs are significantly lower than the White House and Trump has been leading on, then we could actually have a huge rally in markets, because a lot of people have been terrified of these 130, 140% tariffs causing mass inflation, which would prevent the Fed from cutting interest rates. But if there's a significantly lower tariff deal that has actually been agreed upon, then we might have 3-4 interest rate cuts at the end of the year, and investors are going to start pricing this in as a significant likelihood, which could cause markets to rally.
Let's start talking about what each state is going to be losing in funding. First of all, education. Looks like Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has aligned himself with President Trump, agreeing to cut their own programs, social services, job loss, unemployment. Oh shoot, they're going to lose 41% of their current state budget because it comes from federal funding. Let's see, cuts to local farm programs that helped Tennessee schools and food banks purchase fresh local food. Also, National Institutes of Health funded medical research, hospitals, universities. Let's see what else is getting cut. I don't understand how anybody votes against their own self-interest, especially when farmers get $10 billion annually in government handouts, especially when they get all their funding, 41%, from the federal government. But I thought they were tired of giving handouts. Turns out they're big in taking handouts. FAFO.
We need to stop with the conservative content that starts with, "We thought you liberals were the party of acceptance and love." I'm going to tell you right now, we aren't anymore. We don't care about you anymore. You betrayed us. All we ever did was try to fight for your rights, your children's rights, your rights to religious freedom and education, and your wives and sisters and mothers' rights to make decisions for their own bodies. And you betrayed us and you screwed us over. So we don't care about you anymore. Not at all. Just move along. I will continue to fight for the rights for your children and for your sick and your disabled. Other than that, you are on your own. We don't care about you. And when this is over, whether it's a month from now, 6 months from now, 10 years from now, don't come crawling. We will not be America the Beautiful and, kumbaya. We are done with you. Leave us alone. You do not exist. We are not loving and accepting towards you ever again.